All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of Gar Capital. It is Tuesday, July 11th, 2023. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to join me this morning and every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the YouTube channel. Just getting all my stuff charged up, ready to go for the day. Okay, cool. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Around the horn, Dow futures up 117 points. The Nasdaq is up 31 points this morning. S&P up 0.24%, and the Russell is at 1915, up about 0.32%. The Russell was the big gainer yesterday among the major indices. Dollar index is flat, 101.92. We're gonna go and chart that very quickly. Good morning, Clifton. VIX down 1.33% at 1487. 10-year Treasury yields are below 4%. I'm going to go over something rather quickly regarding the CPI number, as we'll kind of preview the CPI ahead of the number tomorrow. Tomorrow will be at 8:30 in the morning. Again, we'll go ahead and recap it at 9 a.m. as always. Crude oil up about 8.85%, 73.61 a barrel. Gasoline futures $2.59, up 1.11%. Gold futures up 0.34%, 1937. Silver futures up about 0.21%. Copper is down 0.20%. Euro dollar down about 20 pips, 109.79. Dollar yen 140.49. That's down about 83 pips this morning. Pound dollar up 33 pips, 128.93. Bitcoin futures are down 1.63% at 30,550. Ethereum at 1880. All right, Soothing Sounds is asking about AMD. So let's answer the question first, and then we can go over a couple things together. AMD. Again, I have an alert, we'll have a level here above 115.95. But again, I wanted this break here, 117.58 for a little more upside room on AMD. They were price upgraded this morning. If you guys want to take a look at the blog, let's see if I can bring this up here so we can show the chart. Where is this AMD? AMD. Okay. KeyBank maintained AMD at overweight with a price target of 160 from a prior price target of 150. So again, I've been blogging this morning since 5:30 in the morning. We had a lot of stuff to cover. JPM was upgraded from hold to buy. JPM is up this morning around 147.24. It did close at 145.15. Remember, they report earnings on Friday. Meta platform, again, Facebook was maintained at neutral with a price target of 270 from a prior price target of 220. Apple was maintained as overweight, target of 200, price target to 180, and Nvidia maintained at overweight, 550 from 500. So again, we'll kind of get back to AMD here. AMD's really just stuck in a range for the most part. Nothing to really do on this part. So we want to get above at least the 100-day moving average. That's the hourly. Let's get to the daily. That'll be a little easier. Well, what we want is to get above this yellow line, which is around 115.95, 116. That's your 20-day moving average. Until we get there, I would not go long the stock yet. Wouldn't want to go ahead and buy here either. I think we can get a little more. Again, just to the fact that if we get a hotter than expected CPI, I don't expect that we will. But again, in case we don't, keep an eye on AMD for a possible buy opportunity. Maybe the bears come out tomorrow and start selling like crazy. And because we're below the 20-day here on AMD, maybe we get a chance to get to 98 a share and go ahead and add some more. We want to get at least some good sales. You know, it is Prime Day on Amazon, and that really doesn't affect the stock either. Good morning. Do you think we run up into tomorrow's numbers? I think we're setting up for a short squeeze to the upside. This is what I'm expecting. Even Tom Lee spoke about this. He expects a softer than expected CPI. On a year-over-year basis, tomorrow, if we are below 3% on CPI, again, you see 2.9, 2.8, you're going to break 4,500 rather quickly. And 4,500 is going to get squeezed, and then you're probably going to tap right around 45.55 pretty much in a hurry. Tom Lee says the same thing. He thinks that we're going to jump 100 S&P points with the CPI number. I don't know about 100, but I think we do break 4,500 as well, just for the simple fact that the CPI is on Wednesday, and then we have PPI Thursday. Thursday, they could just sell it. So he has an end-of-week target. My indication is showing that we're going to get above 4,500. The question is, how far do we go? How high do we go? Do we go to 45.51, which would be great? That's levels not seen since April of 2022. if you start talking about 46.20, again, that's the first quarter, March of 2022 highs. And that's when we got that next leg down. So again, a big retrace back to that 46 something hundred level. Again, we know the first 2 weeks of July are seasonally strong. That'd be my bull case scenario. My base case is that if CPI beats, which I think it does, but I'm not just a beat or a meet expectations. I'm talking about a sub 3% CPI year over year. If we get that 2.9, 2.8, 2.7, even lower would be great. Above 4,500 is where we're going to go on S&P futures, and we'll probably top out at least in the first level of resistance of 45.50. Now, what I want to trade that ahead of the number, there's so much volatility expected, at least on that, not on the VIX wise, but again, there's so many things that could happen. Just because the CPI beats doesn't mean the stock market has to go higher. I mean, we could have massive deflation and the market says that's bad and we tank. Crazy things have happened. So again, I'm just going to go by the CPI based on the used car prices falling. Shelter is still relatively sticky, but actually rentals have creeped down a little bit. The big thing is fuel, gasoline, energy. Energy costs have gone down lately. And again, if you go on a year-over-year basis, we peaked in July. We're only going to get the June CPI numbers tomorrow. And that's not even the peak. The peak is next month. So we should really roll over in the August CPI print. How perfect the Fed doesn't have a meeting in August. Guys, this is probably the last one if that CPI gets below 3. That's the last one. Or they may not even hike. Who knows? Last time they had a little bit of time between FOMC meetings was in January, where they didn't have the meeting. They had one on December, excuse me. And they only did a 25 basis point after doing 50s and 75s. Remember that? When they could have done 75. I think they did 50 in December. But they went with 50 instead of 75. They slowed it down. So it's kind of like, which hand are they holding the keys? We're trying to kind of play a parlor game. What I think is going to happen is that CPI comes in better than expected. I expect a 2.9 on a year-over-year basis. That breaks us above 4,500. Doesn't mean you're going to go to all-time highs tomorrow. No, it just means that we're just going to get a nice pop higher and then run into the week on the higher note. We'll be above 4,500 by the end of the week, in my opinion. If not, we'll probably just be in this little chop area of 4,480 to 4,500. Again, just really depending on how high we go. Remember, guys, the higher we go, the quicker we go, is the quicker the fall. So again, you may get a print of 4,600, but that's going to pull back immediately. You're going to have gaps to fill. You're going to have some overbought conditions. So again, it's still a trader's market in that sense. Good morning, Palantir and JPM. Let's take a look at Palantir. Palantir is pulling back this morning a bit from the highs of 1678. I was looking at those calls, but I picked DraftKings instead. We got DraftKings anyways, but again, you see a breakout here above 16. Really the target, if you're looking for, is right around 17. So around 1717, that's kind of the next level that we're looking for, or 1705, excuse me. So the 17 calls, I just didn't single them out because we did DraftKings, and again, that absolutely squeezed. We hit that thing twice. So my thing was just hit what was working, and that's what we got going on. You can see DraftKings complete breakout on the daily. Next target is 3072. I think I had one more, JPM. JPM was price upgraded as well. I have a level of 147.48 to break. Where's that JPM? JPM upgraded by Jeffries from a target of 149 to 165. So that's a hefty upgrade. And again, we've been saying JPM is the better one of all the banks, the best ones. And we've been talking about this breakout now for a while. So again, we want to break 147.48, target 150. We still have a gap to fill here at 167. What was that target they had? 165? Come on, guys. This isn't a coincidence. They know what they're doing. We know what we're doing. We say JPM goes higher. But again, if earnings come in a little softer, hey, we got a gap to fill here at 145.42. Doesn't mean the stock can't go down even with great earnings. And again, I don't expect stellar earnings from JPM. I think JPM will have a decent number. I mean, we don't have tons of loan growth. Interest rates are high. So again, I'm not expecting anything spectacular at JPM. But again, the bar is so low. I expect JPM to at least beat or meet, and then we'll get that price action to 150 by the end of the week is my call. But I would not want to trade that. Again, that's going to be a higher risk. If we break 147.48, I'll take a look at the 150 calls. I'm going to want to get out of them today or tomorrow. Thoughts on the stock FANG, not the acronym FANG. but the actual stock bang. I think we're above the 20-day moving average now, and we are, but we're hitting our head right here on the 100 moving average. So you can see here, it's really just sideways action on FANG. I don't know what the dividend yield is on Diamondback Energy, but in terms of trading, I mean, you can really not do much here. It's just chop. I mean, not really much. You got kind of a double top at least. You got a kind of a double bottom. Sideways action, boring ass energy, pays a dividend and drills. That's what you're gonna get. If you want action, it ain't FANG. But if you want stability, at least in terms of relative to the S&P, I mean, that's pretty solid, straight up. Support for Microsoft. Microsoft support. We talked about this possibly being a bear trap below 327.50. Thankfully, we did not play puts. We bounced back. Got a nice daily candle so far. On the close, it was a shooting star. We are up this morning to 332.24. We have a gap to fill at 336.64 on the daily. But that's where the 20-day moving average is. So I wouldn't want to chase this until we break out above that 20-day. Get me above 343. I'll talk about the 350s. NEO I played personally yesterday. I did not send that signal, but there is a gap to fill here at 11.17. The problem with NEO is that you're beholden to China headlines overnight. Their economy is not exactly doing great either. I'm glad it's up today, but again, at the end of the day, I did not want to send this. We want to be a little more careful on a CPI week, but again, the gap to fill on NEO is $11.17. Oil companies in general, I think we can get a little cheaper. Listen, we've hit peak oil at the end of the day. This is why the Saudis are buying soccer leagues, because they know it's over. Party's over. We're still using fossil fuels that we've been used since the 1800s, and that's going to end. We have renewable energy, we have solar, we have wind, we have electric cars. Yes, that's used by coal, but at least we have the most coal in the United States, right? So we're not going to be beholden to OPEC anymore. At least XOM is a domestic producer, CVX too, but I don't think there's much growth in terms of crude oil companies. Does that mean the stock can go higher? Yeah, of course. You collect a dividend and you're relaxing. XOM is never going to be worth zero. XOM is not going to go bankrupt. They're too big to fail, literally. So $99.60, $100 range isn't a bad place to get started if you wanted to go ahead and own this name. But again, don't get excited on owning XOM. You're not going to get much. Really, all of the bulk of the move was what? In 2022, when oil prices shot up to what, 130 a barrel? More than likely, are we going to get that again? Probably not. Not when everyone has a damn Tesla. Good morning, Carlos. Can you please explain your thread on QQQ regarding the 24th? Yeah, all it is the explanation of rebalancing of the names in the queues. So what does that mean exactly? That means when you go to QQQ Holdings, I'm going to go and bring up Q Holdings. And again, you can just look at the holdings of QQQ itself, and you'll see it's Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, all these names, Tesla. We know the big names on there. Microsoft is the biggest allocation. Apple, NVIDIA, Amazon, Tesla, Meta, Alphabet, two classes of stock, Broadcom and PepsiCo. Now, I don't know if PepsiCo to you is a tech stock, but to me it's not. But what they're trying to do is really just kind of fix the weighting where, Microsoft is not worth 10% of the damn fund. Apple is up 10% is the 10% of the fund. So if we did the math here, really 27%, over a quarter of the QQQ is two stocks. That is not going to attract a lot of money. Why would I want to buy Qs if 27% of the damn stock is Microsoft and Apple, which I already own? So Qs obviously have their own fund managers. It's owned by Invesco, and they're going to have to balance this out, where Microsoft may have to pull back a smidge, Apple may have to pull back a smidge, maybe not have PepsiCo, maybe add a tech company to a little bit more weight. You can say you could say what is it? Salesforce.com would be a good one. That's a tech company. Tesla's up there. I don't see AMD up there. I mean, we don't know. So again, for the most part, I think that's what I was reading yesterday. Most of the big drop in mega cap tech, as you noticed yesterday, what was up yesterday? It was the small caps, high tech or high beta names, the DraftKings, the Palantirs, the Neos of the world. But again, Microsoft, Apple, NVIDIA, Amazon were all down because of this rebalancing. So more than likely, I guess the simple explanation is that QQQ or Invesco sold these shares of Microsoft and Apple Microsoft was down 2% yesterday on really no news. That's probably what it was. And again, just to have this rebalancing. Now, again, I don't own QQQs personally, so I would not get the investor letter. I only trade Qs. So again, if you are interested in the QQQ, you'd have to go ahead and read about it under their investor relations tab, and they'll probably give you more of a big breakdown. If you are a QQQ holder, you have access to that material for free. Again, when you're a shareholder. To me, I mean, I could always ask for it, but it's easier just to look it up online. Let's see here. That's my oldies music in the background. All right. Good morning, Carlos. I already explained that. QQQ weighs on. I don't know what the new weights will be. That's a really great question. I wish we could front run that. Good morning, Zoom Balloon. Who important is talking this week before the FOMC meeting? Thanks. Who's talking today? Oh, this week. I don't think there's any Fed speakers this week. I might be wrong. Excuse me, Waller. Member Waller. FOMC member Waller will speak on Thursday. But we don't have FOMC this week, Zoom Balloon. We have a CPI, which is the inflation reading. So we talked about the CPI and S&P 500. And we did some chart work. Let's take a look at the dollar. That's what I really wanted to look at. Remember our video that we did in the first quarter of this year, I talked about the three things: lower dollar, lower yield, lower inflation. So far, lower inflation is happening. So far, lower dollar is almost there. Now we just need lower yields. So again, step by step. If you notice that the market is still making higher lows and higher highs, we'll get above 4,500. Don't you worry. So $100.80, 100.8. That's the level we need to break. That is the double bottom that we've had from January and April. Really strong months in the stock market, mind you. Once that breaks $100.80, it's good night, Irene, because you're going to go to 98.95. And where is that going to put the S&P? It's going to probably put it around 4,600, more than likely. So how do I know this? Or am I just guessing, right? That's kind of the deal. Let's go ahead and we're going to compare. So where is this? Add studies. We're going to compare it with the S&P 500. And then what did we talk about? We talked about inverse correlations. The dollar's up, S&P's down. Dollar's down, S&P is up. If you're starting to see the decoupling, when the dollar's up, the dollar's down, excuse me, you see the S&P go higher. S&P was higher, dollar was lower until it started climbing. You have that inverse correlation. Now we have the dollar sinking. This will probably make a little more sense to y'all. Right since March, we had a pretty much one-for-one correlation where it wasn't really affecting. The dollar being higher or lower did not affect equities until the dollar started sinking down into April. Pretty good April, right? And then what happened? Stocks went a little higher. When the dollar started going up a little higher, you see we kind of peaked a little bit here. Just we're holding on the S&P right around 4,200. And then when it started sinking again in June, that's when we got the leg up. So if you want higher stock prices, stocks are priced in dollars, you need dollar to go lower. Very simple. And we will get it. And if the CPI comes in weaker than expected, you better believe the dollar will fall as well. Why will that happen? Because now it doesn't matter what the Fed wants. They're going to hit their target of 2%, correct? So why would you need to tighten anymore? Now we have the pause, right? The pause. And that's going to create the dollar to be weaker because now you're not tightening monetary policy. You're just keeping it as is. And then just give it a couple of years or a year or so, and then we'll just print some more. And that's where the dollar continues to fall. Stock prices go up and everyone's going to be happy. I wish I could give you the more complicated version, but that's really it. Dollar go down, stocks go up. Simple as that, guys. And that's what we're probably going to get. So DraftKings, I do see us continuing a little more. 30.72. Caterpillar, we took DraftKings twice yesterday. Caterpillar is near the money. So again, guys, we have the 250 calls. Excellent trade. We'll probably get that this morning. Let's take a look at Mara. Mara pulling back again after, the little choppy action. Mara traders know how this goes. We still have a little more room to run. AMD we spoke about. We need to get above 117.58. Nvidia still choppy. Apple up a little bit. Nothing really exciting there. And then I think JPM. JPM, guys, keep a heads up. A break of 147.48. That is the July highs, the third. Once we break that, I would target the 150 strike. But again, we need to see if we have volume. Getting a little bit of a pullback here on the NASDAQ and the S&P before the day begins. We'll see what we get. Let's see if we can catch Caterpillar first thing this morning. And then we can see what Mara does, because it's kind of the same deal. Just chop back, pull back, going higher, pulling higher, going higher. And that's where we are. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me today and every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the YouTube channel. I will see you on the live market blog if you haven't joined us already. Make sure to do so, www.gar.capital, and go to free plan, and that is the Discord with the free live market blog. We'll see you then. Cheers, guys.